Nintendo must have y'all under some kind of mind control, or they got y'all hypnotized or something. Because we couldn't have seen the same Nintendo Direct. What I watched and what y'all watched couldn't have been the same thing. It couldn't have.
Hello everyone, this is Magbo Gaming here once again, back in Angry Guy's channel after a little while. Anyways, I'm back for a bit. I don't know if I'm gonna be showing up too much like I used to, because yeah, let's just say that YouTube's viewership and algorithm sucks right now. But besides the point, let's get on to this whole video about the buyer's remorse of Nintendo Switch 2. Before we get to this video, be sure to check out Angry Guy at Rumble in the description below if you want to see more unfiltered content from him, exclusive live streams and stuff. And if you want to also check out the Angry Crypto Academy as well, also in the description below, you can learn how to invest in crypto, what to know exactly which cryptocurrency we would recommend for you to actually invest, and see if it can help you bring you financial freedom in the long term in the future. Anyways, let's get on to this commentary with Nintendo. It's been a while, but let's see what I have to say about this. So the link to the main video, if you want to see it after this, is in the description below. I just want to let you know right now, because I won't be commentating on everything, but I'll do what I can with this. Okay, let's get this started.
What's up, folks? So there's a pattern that I've seen happening more and more often ever since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's the amount of people that seemingly have either regretted their purchase, or they feel like they probably jumped in way too soon and should have waited until 2026 at least. And I think there are a number of reasons as to why that could have been, many of which have already been discussed on this channel pretty in depth. But personally, I didn't really want to speak too much about it because I was kind of waiting for this moment. The post-Nintendo Direct moment, because for a lot of people, since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, well, actually, since April 2nd when the first Direct happened, a lot of people jumped into Nintendo's new console very blindly with the expectation that Nintendo was going to be delivering more throughout the end of the year. And it was absolutely a very popular talking point online. And while this past Direct kind of proved that there wasn't anything major expected through the end of the year, pretty much what we're getting is what we learned fairly early on, there have been a lot of steps along the way that have, at minimum, raised people's eyebrows and had them question their spending habits, to the point where I actually...
Okay, I want to let you guys know right now that I did a reaction on the last Nintendo Direct that happened last Friday, which falls on the 12th of September 2025. And I'll tell you one thing, this Direct really proves to you how greedy Nintendo has become. Especially with the Super Mario Galaxy bundle that they're gonna be pricing for $70. I have a short that I just made. You can check it in my channel, Magbo Gaming, in the description below. My latest shorts, I believe, will be that. And you will see my thoughts about this whole thing. So if you want to know how I think about this, definitely check out that shorts, because I think it's going to be worth the watch. It's only a minute long.
I think this Direct was not the first sign of trouble. It was actually the final nail in the coffin for a lot of these people, where they are very likely officially convinced that the Nintendo Switch 2 is not worth it for them. And over the course of this short video, I'd like to go over some of the major talking points that happened early on, and how as time has gone on, this has just made hype and sales just slip away from the Nintendo Switch 2. And let me preface this by saying that I don't expect many people that are very passionate about the Switch 2 to understand anything that I'm about to say. And I would also say, to an extent, Nintendo is not completely at fault for some of this, not explicitly anyway, but they are part of the major problem. And it's primarily because they do not communicate with the fan base, they're not very clear about what's coming, and through...
Yeah, you remember back in the old days where Nintendo was a lot more transparent with the development of each games, and then they show like teasers and trailers of different games that they're developing at the moment. So at least you could be informed that, well, we have something to look forward to in the future and stuff like that. Even Iwata, I remember he apologized for the game's delays several times in the past on a Nintendo Direct. And then he ends with the quote, "Please understand, this will take a little while to make." So, yeah, they were a lot more transparent back then. I feel right now they are omitting a lot of stuff outside. So they want to catch us by surprise. I like the surprise, but at the same time, for a long time we'd be left hanging with not much to look forward to. Let's put it that way. Because before the Nintendo Direct, there wasn't too much to look forward to.
All of the great ways they found to manipulate the algorithm and manipulate their audiences and their fandom, they're at the point now where they just let the crazies do the talking for them. So, for example, we've recently come to a point where the Nintendo Switch 2, depending on how much effort a developer wants to put into it, at best might have some tiny moments and glimmers of hope where it could somewhat outperform the Xbox Series S. And at worst, it's just a little bit better than the base model PS4. Usually landing somewhere around the PS4 Pro, maybe even slightly weaker than that on average. Now, this is important because one of the earliest talking points in the Nintendo Switch 2's life was how powerful this thing was actually going to be compared to other consoles. We sit here today in September and we're like, yeah, it can almost trade blows with the Series S, what did you expect from a handheld? But that wasn't the discourse online a few months ago. Actually, we're close to like 5 months ago now. The idea for many people was that this thing would at minimum be a Series S, maybe not quite at the levels of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, but it would be at least comparable. And this obviously has a lot to do with the initial direct that we saw from Nintendo. They were very clear about focusing on 120 frames per second. They were adamant that people understood that this was a device that would go up to 4K and it was way stronger than the original Nintendo Switch. Now, technically, Nintendo didn't lie. This device does support 120 frames per second. Games like Hollow Knight have shown that. And many games do go up to 4K, but the average buyer, the person that's not really involved in a lot of the discourse online, maybe they search a few things and read what's said in a few forums, maybe they just watch the initial direct or some trailers. As far as they were concerned, this is going to be a handheld device that's going to support 4K 60 frames per second. And without a thought, with the console being available, naturally, they went and bought it fairly early on in its life. Even if there wasn't a game they were interested in just yet, they probably figured, who knows how long this thing's gonna be in stock, and who knows what's gonna happen with tariffs, who knows if they're gonna increase the price in future years, I might as well just grab it, and then I can always just play the games that I enjoy on this Switch 2 later on when they come out. I don't think the launch lineup bothered too many people because they were just occupied by Mario Kart. That was enough to keep them busy for a bit, and then if they wanted to indulge and enjoy something first-party, Donkey Kong Bonanza was right around the corner. The issue, however, is that Mario Kart is not a game that'll keep you busy for a very long time. And I still stand by the belief that you don't buy a console.
Yeah, it's very disappointing that Mario Kart World is already dead, technically. Because they did some updates that people don't like. I'm not going to get into detail here because you guys already know what it is. But yeah, Mario Kart World is already dropping in like playability and traffic online and stuff like that. And people going back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And yeah, I'm surprised in the Direct they didn't mention anything new on DLCs from Mario Kart World. But I'll tell you one thing. The day that they do that, it wouldn't surprise me. It would be paid DLC. Because Donkey Kong Bonanza got paid DLC as well. And a lot of you probably know how you felt about that. $20 for content that I believe should have already been on the main game to begin with. Maybe it could be an unlockable within the main game if you achieve something, but not to pay more for it. I feel that would have been better. But of course, 2 months after Donkey Kong Bonanza came out, they decided to have this paid DLC, and I highly doubt that they were making that DLC shortly after the game's release. They were probably making that for a little while before the game's release. And then the executives at Nintendo told the developers, make it as a separate DLC. Do not put them all directly on the cartridge because I want them to pay more. We got to maximize our profits. You get the idea. These Nintendo corporations, honestly, you can see how the level of greed goes. Pokemon ZA. Let's talk about Pokemon ZA real quick. That Mega Raichu X and Y DLC for $30, plus you'll be spending $70 for the Switch 2 edition, and I think it's $60 for the Switch 1 version, right? But let's just talk about the Switch 2 edition real quick. $70 plus $30, so the game's gonna be $100, and then certain Mega Pokemon can only be obtained if you go online with your Nintendo Switch Online. So that's another $20 if you want that as well. So if you don't already have Nintendo Switch Online, which I guess it shouldn't bother most of you guys, and I understand that, well, you're essentially going to be paying way more than $60 or $70. Compared to back in the 3DS days, remember when the 3DS had Pokemon X and Y? And this is a game related to ZA. Why? Because ZA takes place in the Kalos regions. And only one town, which is Lumina City. So X and Y has all those cities within Kalos, not just Lumina City, but a lot more stuff. Yeah, so that was only $40 per game. And that's it. Like, I don't remember nor recalling ever seeing any paid DLCs whatsoever. Every content that you could enjoy was already on the cartridge. And you got the full game pretty much for X and Y back in 2013. Like, I don't remember paying for any additional DLCs.
Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now.
Nintendo must have y'all under some kind of mind control, or they got y'all hypnotized or something. Because we couldn't have seen the same Nintendo Direct. What I watched and what y'all watched couldn't have been the same thing. It couldn't have.
If you guys remember something additional that I'm not remembering right now, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, but that's how I feel. Okay, let's commentate a little bit more and I'll get to my conclusion. Then you can watch the rest of his video in the description below so you can get the whole synopsis on this whole thing if you want.
For Mario Kart, you buy Mario Kart because you got the Nintendo console. If you recall, a lot of people very early on in the Switch 2's life, with all the sales numbers that Mario Kart was pulling because it was bundled in with 90% of the consoles, or maybe it was closer to like 80%, but there was just so much discussion about how this is automatically, without a shadow of a doubt, the best Mario Kart game ever, and the most optimistic of Nintendo fans would be in the discussion of Game of the Year, and all of these Mario Kart flags that were just being waved all around the world about how this game is gonna change the world. It's Mario Kart. It's not gonna change the world. And now it's at the point where basically the only reason this game is selling as well as it is because there are still bundles of it available. It's not that it's a bad game, but I mean, it's Mario Kart. And obviously Nintendo doesn't help the case with
And I just want to let you guys know that there are a lot of Switch 2s in stocks right now in my local Walmarts. You can get a Switch 2 if you want to, just go there. But there's only the $500 bundle. And that's the one with Mario Kart World. So, of course, Mario Kart World is going to continue to sell like crazy because that's the only bundle that you're finding right now in stores. They may have a $450 bundle with no games whatsoever. I wouldn't call it a bundle, my bad, but you get the idea. So, of course, Mario Kart World is going to continue to sell, and I do want to play Mario Kart World at some point, even more. If you saw my last game hunting video, you saw that I actually played Mario Kart World for the very first time. You can check that video below. And yes, in my channel, you could check it out for yourself. It was good, but I didn't feel any different compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It just looks a little bit better visually, but that's about it. Like, I didn't even know there was any big difference at the moment. So yeah, what do I think about this whole thing? Let's get to the conclusion. So the Nintendo Direct itself, there was some very good stuff. I'm looking forward to Tomodachi Live. I am gonna get it when it comes out, maybe not day one, but very close to its release. I'm also gonna pick up, not until I get a Switch 2, but I'm also looking forward to the new Fire Emblem game that's coming out on Switch 2, the Fortune Soul, whatever it's called. Yeah, so that's another game that I'm kind of looking forward to myself. But there's just so much greed in this Direct. Those paid DLCs in games that are already $60, $70 to $80. And then, like, if they ever do new DLCs, I just have a bad feeling that the $80 games that we're already paying for it, they're gonna bring out DLCs that are paid, and then it just adds up to the investments of how much you need to enjoy fully a specific game. It's like, I remember back then that $80 got me a 2DS console, and it even came with a Mario Kart 7 bundle. Yes, I'm not kidding. The 2DS back in the day, back in 2018, 2019, when the 2DS was still around, it was $80 with Mario Kart. on the 3DS. And that was an amazing deal, man. That was crazy. It's hard to get that kind of deal these days. If you compare that 3DS bundle with the Mario Kart bundle for $500, how much more are you gonna be spending? Oh, $420 more for Switch 2 with Mario Kart World compared to, you know, the 3DS bundle back in the day. And that wasn't that long ago. It hasn't been a decade yet since that thing came out. So what do you think of that comparison? I sure remember that. I sure remember those good times. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 7 or 8 years ago or so. Not even 7 years ago. I think like 6 years ago, there were still 2DS bundles of Mario Kart for $80 still in stores in Walmart. I'm not even kidding. That was right before the pandemic. I remember seeing those bundles still. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. This is crazy. And yeah, be sure to check out Angry Guy at Rumble for exclusive content there where he curses like a sailor and all. Check out his Angry Crypto Academy. And yes, and check out my YouTube channel below at Magbo Gaming. Especially if you want to see that shorts video and any of the latest content I have uploaded there. I'm a little slow at uploading right now, but I'm taking my time to release quality content. I don't want to release every day for the sake of releasing it. I take my time. But if you're looking forward to what I release, which is game collecting related and everything like that, game hunting, content, me showing you off my game collection and all that stuff, well, I hope that you enjoy my channel. Anyways, that's all I have to say, and I'll see you all in the next one. Magbo out. Peace. Bye-bye.